mynews.studio.
Picture this. Right in the middle of the Sahara, you'll find circles of green where there used to be just endless sand. It really makes you wonder, could this be the key to surviving in the desert?
Today's date is 2025, 11/9. These circular gardens, called Tulu Kur, are starting to appear across the Sahara. Let's break it down. How do these gardens actually function in such a harsh environment?
The design is actually pretty smart. The gardens are made of concentric rings of plants. On the outside, you've got hardy trees, like baobabs and African mahogany, that protect everything inside from wind and sun. Then, moving inward, there are fruit plants such as papaya and cashew. The circular shape does more than look good. It helps keep water and nutrients where they're needed most.
So it's about creating microclimates and making the most of limited water. But with water being so scarce, how do these gardens even stay alive? Isn't evaporation a huge challenge?
That's exactly the challenge, and the solution is a blend of technology and tradition. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, circular farms use advanced irrigation systems and recycle wastewater, millions of liters, to keep crops growing. Closer to home, in places like Burkina Faso, people use something called zai pits. These are small holes that capture rainwater and are filled with manure to attract termites. The termites then aerate the soil. It's a combination of modern water tech and long-standing local practices.
Are these gardens only found in Senegal, or is this approach being tried in other desert regions too?
The model is definitely spreading. In Senegal alone, more than 20 gardens have appeared in just the past 7 months. There's real momentum, more funding, growing international interest, and even Saudi Arabia has adapted the model, using drought-resistant moringa trees. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Each region needs to choose plants and methods that work for its own climate and involve the local community from the start.
But there must be challenges beyond finding enough water. What else stands in the way of scaling up these gardens?
Absolutely. Reliable irrigation is still a big hurdle. Some gardens run into trouble keeping water available. There's also the need for skilled people to manage and maintain the gardens, which means ongoing training. And economic sustainability is a concern. It's not just about growing food. People need ways to sell any extra harvest, and the gardens need systems in place to keep them going over time.
And then there's land tenure, right? Who owns the land and who gets the benefits? Those issues can get pretty complicated.
Exactly. Plus, climate variability, unexpected weather swings can really threaten the garden's progress. That's why it's so important to have flexible management strategies and clear rules from the very beginning.
Let's talk about local knowledge. How much does traditional know-how matter compared to the newer technologies?
It's absolutely crucial. Local water management strategies, like zai pits, come from generations of experimentation. Communities know which crops can survive, how to manage scarce water, and how to keep these projects going after outside support ends. That kind of knowledge is usually missing from purely technological fixes.
So, community ownership is what really decides whether a project keeps going or falls apart after the funding is gone.
That's right. When people put their own time and knowledge into the gardens, they last. Otherwise, there's a real risk that the gardens will just be abandoned once the outside help disappears.
Let's talk about results. Are these gardens actually making a difference for local food supplies and economies?
The early signs are good. Villages are less dependent on food imports, crop yields are higher, and there are more steady jobs. And it's not just about food. Land that used to be barren is now green and productive again.
So there's a model here that could work in many places, but it really depends on combining technology, tradition, and strong local leadership.
That's the main takeaway. It's never just about planting trees or setting up irrigation systems. It's about carefully designing systems that match local needs and empower the people who rely on them.
Given how climate change is causing more drought and damaging more land, what's holding other regions back from trying this?
Mostly it comes down to resources and the right expertise. With more support and opportunities to share knowledge, This approach could be used in other dry regions too. But it only works if local communities take the lead.
So that's the story. Desert landscapes turning green, not just because of new technology, but because people and their traditions are at the heart of it.
Thanks for joining us while we explored how circular gardens in the Sahara are transforming deserts into sustainable oases.
Today we covered how these gardens work, the role of both technology and tradition, and the real changes happening in local communities.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.